Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wake Cat Sports, and we're going to be talking Tigers today. First up, we did sign somebody. I don't know how well they're going to help the team, but Gio Ursula has now been signed to the Tigers. It's 1 year, $1.5 million. Not a big deal. But somebody to fill in that infield along with McKinstry and Ibanez and Veerling.
If he, I guess he broke his pelvis last year, so it was non-surgical. So, but the year before that, he had a pretty decent year, 285, and from by all regards, he was a pretty damn good fielding defenseman, third baseman. So, I mean, we could use that. It worries me that we're not really trying to go after any big names right now. Don't know if that's an indication that Scott Harris still kind of wants to see what this team is and the young kids are, what they can do before he goes out and signs anybody that really probably could make a difference.
I think this leaves for. I think when I looked at the upcoming free agents, I think the reason why they're not doing much right now is I wouldn't be surprised if next year to fill in third base they go get Alex Bregman from Houston because he's a free agent next year. If the Astros don't re-sign him,
Right.
then I would not be surprised if the Tigers try to actually go for a bigger free agent next year and not this year because they're planning on more of future free agents than who's in the pool right now.
Right.
So
Okay, well, that makes sense. That certainly is. Like I said, I'm excited about this year. I've just seen a lot of people who have been down on the Tigers lately. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what all these young kids can do. I'm kind of excited. I think they have a legit shot to win the division.
So if I had to do any kind of lineup prediction, since we kind of get that, we're getting towards that point in the year where the season is about to start, and they'll even have a roster up for next year, which is great. Which is great. ESPN being behind the ball on that. Honestly, I see your outfield probably being Meadows in center, Green in left, and then Canna in right, or swap left and right field, depending on what you're doing. Canna was our big trade acquisition in the offseason for the
Big,
veteran presence because we don't really have many big veteran.
big. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that's a pretty good outfield. Um, I'm excited about Meadows. I mean, I think he's going to add something. I'm hoping. There's a lot of ifs on this team. Um, if Riley Green can stay healthy, I think it'll be a tremendous 1-2 punch to have him and Torkelson in the lineup.
Which Torkelson did great last year. He had 31 home runs. He might even hit more this year, depending on how the year goes. And obviously, he will be the first baseman. Uh, it's going to be up in the air depending on how Colt Keith has spring training. He could be your starting second baseman starting out the year, or it's going to be Ibanez again. And a lot of people, like I said last year when I looked at Ibanez's stats, I was actually kind of surprised. He had 11 home runs to for the year, which wasn't really that bad. 41 RBIs, and he had a batting average of 264.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind either or. I'm excited about Colt Keith, though. I'd like, we want to see something new. Want to see something that maybe could be a difference changer. We know what we got in Ibanez. Uh, oh God, sorry. Um, so yeah, I like Ibanez. We're stuck with Mr. Baez at short.
Baez will be at short, but apparently he's been working all winter on a new swing, trying to find something. So he actually has been putting the work in throughout the offseason to try and find something. We will see, though, how it goes. Obviously,
Yeah,
production's going to matter more.
Around 250, that would be great.
But
strike out.
But I knew that before you signed him that he struck out. He was either you're going to hit the ball or you're not, and he is more of done not with us than has. Of course, third base is the question mark. If Colton Keith is up, it's probably going to be a rotation between Ibanez, McKinstry, and Veerling. Whoever's going to be playing that day within the outfield too. It's going to be like last year. There's going to be a lot of rotation between all the positions of who's playing where. There's going to be people getting the day off, people DHing because we don't have Cabrera anymore. So the DH is an open spot for people to get a day of rest. So, like we were last year, where we were a big substitute team, expect the same thing to be happening this year, where there's going to be lots of substitutions happening late in the game. And that leaves, obviously, our catcher is going to be Rogers. And with how he played last year, I would not be surprised if he had another good year this year.
Right, right. Jake Rogers, like I said, has made some pretty good strides. Heck of a defensive defenseman. Just gotta keep working on the bat, and we're kind of excited about that. We were wondering if he was, 2 years ago, if his career was over. It looked like it was, but under Hitch, he's gotten a lot more of a chance.
I wish we had a left-handed hitting catcher, but we do not. Our backup will be Carson Kelly in that regard, not Dylan Dingler, who is still in the minors, which, again, it could be another catcher of the future, but we will see what happens. I think Rogers, as long as he plays the way he's playing, I think he'll be fine. And backups, right? You got to have Ibanez, like I said. Colt Keith might be up with the team. He might not be. Gio Ursula probably will be up with the team because he didn't sign a two-way deal. He didn't sign a minor league with a tryout. It's a regular contract. We'll see if Baду makes the team, though. That is the only question mark, I think.
But I don't want Badu on
this team. I think Badu and Ibanez are going to be your question marks because I think you're going to keep, obviously Canna, Carpenter, Green, and Meadows will be on the team, along with McKinstry and Veerling.
Yeah, Carpenter's going to be our DH.
He will be our DH - right field. I'm going to assume they're going to rotate people in and out of DH a lot more this year.
Yeah, I think so too. There is no clear-cut DH.
Because
we could use that if we want to go after free agents, if there's somebody available.
I think there's just too much. Like, if they're going to feel who's better in the outfield than others, that's how it's going to go. Like, they were going to give somebody probably more time at DH, and it might be Carpenter for his defense and Canna in the outfield, but the second one outfielder gets a day off on the field, and he's just going to hit DH, and you're going to throw Carpenter out there. I mean, you have very reliable outfielders besides your main four, basically. I mean, if Badu's still on a team, I mean, he's okay in the outfield. He did make a few big errors last year. Both McKinstry and Veerling are good outfielders. So they have the opportunity to have a very good outfield. Their infield's going to be good defensively because even though Baez struggles at the plate, he's still very good defensively. Torkelson's a good first baseman. Colt Keith is going to be a good second baseman. And even Ibanez was a good second baseman last year. You just do third base is your question mark.
Right.
How good is that third base going to be throughout the year? Jake Rogers is a good defensive catcher. He plays well, which leads to your pitching, which, again, it's always your question mark going into the year. We have a good idea what's going on. I think I've seen the prediction of Skubal. Well, of course, Skubal will be there. You're probably going to, and you have Kenta Maeda there. Matt Manning will be in the rotation as well.
How far off is Casey Mize?
I think Casey Mize has been throwing because he was throwing last year. I think your question mark comes with down the line. I probably are going to have Reese Olson as a starter this year, if I had to predict in that lineup. And from there, it's kind of figuring out the fifth guy, or Jake Flaherty. I almost forgot about Jack Flaherty. So there you go. There's your five. You're going to have Skubal, Jack Flaherty, Kenta Maeda, Matt Manning, Reese Olson probably as your starting five.
That sounds like the Braves lineup in the 80s with Glavine.
I don't see Casey Mize starting. I mean, he could, but I don't see him starting right away.
Well, that's what he is. He's not a relief pitcher. So.
Well, neither was Reese Olson, but we used him as a relief pitcher.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, he's coming off Tommy John. They might not try to force too much. The question mark is always our bullpen, though. End of our starting pitching and bullpen will always be the question mark. If the bullpen can play like it did last year, though, because for once we had a good bullpen for most of the year.
You know who might be able to fit in that line? Patrick Kane.
Put him on the baseball
team. He's
such
a superstar.
It's going to be an interesting year, though, I think, pitching-wise. Because we don't that's still an unknown. We always don't know how our pitching's going to do. I think we're pretty content on how the offense is going to do, but the pitching is going to be the problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was hoping they'd re-sign Mike Lorenzen like from last year. The
He
guy
still
that
hasn't
played.
signed, so I mean they could,
I liked him. I thought he did well for us. So
but I don't think the
I mean, if we're
Tigers are.
going that route, it doesn't look like they want any high-profile people. So
But I say
a
I don't
guy
think
like
they're doing
Lorenzen would be a
anything.
good signing.
I don't think they're trying to do anything else just because. I think they're content with what they have going on right now, and maybe they're planning on for a future free agency and not the one right now. But with all that being said, if you know like what you see, don't like, comment, subscribe, share to hear it out. Until next time, hope to see everybody soon.